Hi.
What's up, world? We're back, and we back, and we back, and we back.
Finally. We had a little
Finally.
technical
Sorry about that.
difficulties, but we're
It's like,
here. We made it. God saw us through.
yep,
So
he's real all the time.
I'm Shakira,
I'm Jason.
and we're reading While
Of course.
Black. And today
Hey.
we have Joi-Marie McKenzie, the author of this month's book, The Engagement Game, which I personally love. There's so much of me in it. I was like, oh, this is me at 24, 25. I recognize this person.
Just trying to figure it out.
Figuring out relationships.
Just
so
trying to be an adult.
So when you agreed to sit down with us, I was super ecstatic. So first I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to, chat with us.
Us boring people.
Yeah,
not at all. We've been through a lot in the last 15 minutes. So
yeah.
I feel like we're friends.
Yeah, pretty much. We've been through the struggle together and we came out on the other side.
We can do karate in the garage now.
So I first just want to ask, so what inspired you to write The Engagement Game?
So I did not know that I was going to write this book at all. I was literally in this room, in my living room, watching Say Yes to the Dress on TV. That was my favorite show at the time. And I just got up from the couch and I just started journaling. I have a diary that I keep on diaryland.com, which I love. And I just started to vent. Yes, I love that. It's like pre-blogging, pre-websites, like as we know them now. And I just was venting about my 5-year relationship. And I started writing the book when we were happy. Me and my ex, we were in a relationship and we had planned to get married. So I didn't know it was going to be a breakup book. But then when we broke up, I had to actually write that part. And then I got the deal. It just all happened so fast, everything. So it was a surprise that I wrote the book. And after I was handed this assignment by the universe, I was like, okay, I need to show up and I need to make this good. I need to really speak my truth. So that's how that happened.
Okay, so it didn't start out as a breakup book then. That's not what I anticipated.
No.
I didn't anticipate.
No.
So yeah, I really wasn't thinking. I was thinking it was a breakup book at first, but this adds a new layer.
Wow.
No. Initially, we were happy, and I was writing this book, and he knew about it. And I was like, I am going to write a book about the pressures that we both feel to get married. And he's like, yeah, let's do it, And then we broke up. Okay. So then I was like, well, I have to write this too, because I had the deal by then. So I was like, okay, I have to write this new part. And so it was supposed to be me feeling the pressures of marriage, but then the book was supposed to end with us getting married.
Okay.
But that did not happen.
Okay.
So
that's really interesting.
Is it so now that I hear your voice, is that is you reading your own book?
Yeah. On the audiobook, Hachette has been very nice to me, and they were like, yeah, do you want to read your own book? And I was like, hell yeah. And we took maybe 3 days in the studio, 3 long days, and I lost my voice at one point. It was hurting, but I just loved the whole audiobook process. I just want to read books for other people. I loved it so much.
Actually, if you want me to be honest with you, I listening to the book actually made it a whole lot easier reading it. I felt like you were just telling your story. I was like, if this is really her voice, then it feels more personal. Actually hearing you tell your own story. That's also got to be in a vulnerable space to be able to write, your story and everybody. And you're like, this is my mess, y'all. This is what I'm going through. Critiquing how you may. 5 years. Oh no, girl. What are you doing, girl?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Y'all are a mess. But see, you guys are from the South, right? And I feel like people in the South, y'all marry and pair up quicker than us Northern folk. So
no, that's very true. That's extremely true.
Yeah.
My friend just got married
I'm mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
Really?
Where it's a process. Yeah, my friend just got married, but I want to say she was with her boyfriend. I want to say 3-4 years. They graduated from college, graduated from the same college together. And they just got married this Sunday, and I missed it in our hometown. And they were together about 3-4 years, but they travel a lot. Like, they go to Europe like it's nothing. And I'd be like, I wish I had this job. Like, they have like the perfect power Instagram couple photos you'll probably ever see.
Yes, Barack and Michelle.
Yes.
They low key might be Barack and Michelle.
I love it.
And I think,
and for those of y'all watching, my dog is on my lap. So please, if y'all see a head pop up, it's not a creature. It's just my dog. Yeah. It's Arista from the book.
Arista has been there for everything.
Yeah.
She came through the door right after the breakup. Like, so y'all done? Because I'm here. I'm here. And it's time for bed, yo. She was like, "Are you staying or are you leaving?" Because I'm still going to sleep regardless. I was like, this is a real one. This one was made different.
Ooh, excuse me. So, and as Jason said, this is a really personal book. Like, it's really personal, and I appreciate that. And one thing that you did mention is your relationship with God and your faith. It's really, really important to you. So I'm wondering, did your breakup with Adam and the 6 months and 5 days that it took to, until you felt happiness again, did that ever like shake your faith at all?
You know what? Surprisingly, I did not get upset with God during that process because we had broken up before. So this was a familiar space, and I somehow knew, I don't know, it's, okay, if I'm being honest, it didn't shake my faith in God or believing that there is a person and a being and spirits that are looking out for me, but it did shake my faith in the idea of a life that you can plan on your own. And it did shake my faith on a happily ever after ending. And it did shake my faith on, does life work out the way you want it to, or the way you think it should? It shook my faith in all of that. It also shook my faith in regards to like happiness versus disappointments. Like, I hear a lot of old people, old folks say, life is hard. And I'd be like, yeah, but it's not really that hard. But in that moment, I got it. I'm like, yeah, life kind of sucks sometimes. But because I'm very familiar with those sayings, and in talking to my elders, I knew that there were going to be some tough times. And my mom always likes to say, "Oh, just live a little bit longer, and you'll know what I'm talking about." And I'm like, "Dang, I've now lived long enough to know this is the hard time."
Okay.
Right.
So probably it sounds like less about God, but more so about like these kind of parameters, these ideals that society has made for us, I think. And you spoke to that towards the end too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I felt a lot of, oh, my bad. No, continue.
No. I wasn't going to say nothing. Go ahead.
No, like hearing that your mother was, a bishop, like, and then like one of the first in that area, like, especially being a woman, was amazing. And then not only that, but I got a lot of your breakup, and I'm seeing like how your faith kind of intertwines with that. It's always, every Black person always hears, well, if God before you, who can be against you? And you get that a lot, and you kind of, and now after reading the book, I get why. Like, I grew up in a household with two grandparents who were married for 55 years. So they went through a lot. And so you would hear that a lot, and they'd always tell you will live longer. And then just to speak to what you said, you were like, oh, I get it now. This is what they were talking about with God before you, who could be against you. Because I really need that right now, because this adulting thing is hard, and this breakup stuff is hard when, like 5 years, girl. It's a long time.
That's so, yeah, like where was this when I was going through my breakups, like I needed this, so.
I had to check myself
and that's really why I wrote it, because it's like no one, especially, church folk, like they'll tell you they have a testimony, but they skip through the test, you know, or they may say a couple of lines.
That's real.
Yeah, but you know, so, and I was very adamant about sharing that I fell into a depression after my breakup, sharing that I felt debilitating loneliness, sharing that I was kind of doing me and having what I like to call a Solange moment. Like I was going out, trying to meet the guys, you know, traveling, you know, which was really my favorite part of the book, because I was just doing me, and we skipped over all of that. And we just said, but God fixed it. And it's like, okay, but like, how were you back then? And I think it's important for us not to skip over the test when we're talking about our testimony. So I really focus a lot of the book on my struggle.
Yeah, and I think as a counselor, I appreciate it, and as a Christian, I appreciated that you were so honest about the depression that you were feeling, because I'm reading like this, I know exactly what this is. And a lot of times in church, they say, well, just pray about it and it's fine, which that can be something that works for people, but it doesn't always work for everybody. And you did the self-care necessary to kind of get past that. And so like, I appreciated the honesty that you used throughout this entire book, but particularly that part, because a lot of people on Instagram or on the internet, or they only show like this one part of your life for the internet, but it just was very real and very raw, and I appreciated that.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, and it's funny too, because, you know, my blog is very much about the Fab Empire, which is how I started my career before I got to ABC News, all these things. Like, it was very much about the polished Black woman, you know, being fabulous and being out there. So I remember when I initially started talking about my book to like the readers who've been reading my blog for 10 years, they were like, well, what problems you've been having? Because we haven't seen any problems. And I think, especially with our culture now, it's so easy to not know that people are going through something because their Instagram looks popping and, you know, they never subtweet, but they might be going through something. So it just, you know, I hope this book reminds people to be kind to people and to have grace in every situation, because you really don't know what people are going through.
Yeah, that's true. That's real.
That's absolutely real. So next question is, there were a couple of points in the books made where you mentioned street harassment. I noticed that when you were overseas in Europe, in part one where you were walking in Morning and Ladder of the book on your vacation with your friends. Why did you feel it was important to include that? And it's also really good to talk about this because street harassment is a hot button topic on the Twitterverse and on the book. I like to call it. I don't like to call it by its real name. But it's real out here, and there, like as a Black man, it took me a while to really understand street harassment. See it from my perspective, and it really took a long time of Shakira beating me upside my head for me to understand, like, yo, this is an experience that you'll never have to worry about because of the privilege that you do have, you know, being a man. And I just want you to just kind of expound on that experience and why, you know, why it was so important to put that part in the book. Because I remember when I read it, I was like, I didn't see this coming.
This is wild. I was like, whoa.
This is wild. I was like,
I recognized, I was like, I know exactly what that is.
Right. And first of all, you are the first people to ever ask me about this part of the book. So thank you so much for reading, you know, being active readers. And I've been dying to talk about this, which is why I wrote it. The thing is,
talk about it.
Yes, like, and I'm so glad you said it came out of nowhere, because that's what street harassment does. You know, it comes out of nowhere. You're on vacation with your girlfriends, having the time of your life, and then someone attacks your booty. And you're like, what? You know, you're kind of taken aback. And so I really want, and that's what happened. You know, we were having an amazing day in Istanbul, walking around, seeing the mosques, having this amazing transformative experience when some man decided to attack me. And for a long time, I think a lot of women, you know, I didn't know this was going to be a hot button issue right now, but for me, I remember the very first time that happened to me. I was like, I couldn't have been more, I think I was 11 years old. I was in St. Louis at a church convention, and this little boy, he was my age, and he did the same exact thing. And I remember being so incensed and feeling like I could not do anything, right? Like I couldn't say anything. If I told my mom, she would be like, well, what were you doing? What were you wearing? Well, she probably wouldn't have said that. But you know, you think these things, like if I tell anybody, they're going to blame me. Or, yeah, and it's just like, so I didn't say anything, especially at that age. But let me tell you how that story ended. Because it was a church convention, I ended up in the elevator with him, like days later, this little boy. And I remember my back being toward him in the elevator. And I'm like, this is your chance to get, you know, vengeance. This is your chance. And I turned around and I said, you're the one who, you know, touched my booty. And I started kicking him. That's not what you should do, ladies. But all I'm saying is that that had a happy ending because I definitely got him back. But, you know, but anyway, the point of me including that story is because for so long, I did not have a voice to tell it. And I do think I wanted, you know, if I never wrote another book in my life, I wanted this book to encapsulate all of the experiences that I've had as a Black woman living in cities. This is a part of our experience, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, and even in the guy, like when you were at the mosque and you mentioned him, I was like, I felt like my heart beat faster because I was like, oh no, like instantly, like a Black girl instinct was like, oh, that's not something, no, like, no. And I recognized that feeling. And I was like, oh man, like, but also, and I appreciated that you put those in, even if you didn't even delve into it. It just the fact that it was there kind of validated experiences for other people.
Yeah,
right.
To me,
and the fact that like every woman. Oh, sorry.
No, go.
So I was going to say the fact that every woman has a story. You know, someone grabbing my booty, whether it's somebody, you know, just brushing me in the club wrong. Like every woman has a story like that. And every girl has a story, and that's just sick, you know? And I hope that I get to a place I can live long enough to see where it doesn't happen, because I don't think that women telling our stories is going to change, right? Like we've been telling our stories for decades. I really feel like it's men's responsibility to teach boys that this is unacceptable behavior and to, in some ways, police them and say, yo, you know, don't do that. You know, if they see it happening on the streets, because I've been harassed in Harlem mad times, you know, and there's many people around. I remember I was walking to the subway a couple of summers ago and a man just bear hugged me. I didn't know him. And I had to force himself off of me. It was so strange. And I looked up and there were 2 police officers standing right there, you know? And so there has to come a time when it's enough about telling our stories, but like we need people to help us and to police us. And y'all say y'all want to be the protectors of us, like protect us.
Right.
I was really shaken up by it. It felt like a public service announcement in the book almost. It was just like, yo, I know we're talking about my life and all my mess, but yo, check this out. Stop touching me.
Problem. Yeah.
Stop touching me. And it came at such a great time, like reading that. Like, yeah, like leave me alone. Like listening to that, and then like I know you've seen like the controversy with the recent article, even though it's been talked about before about cis hetero Black men being the white men of
yes.
And it's stirred up a lot, but it started a great conversation. Like I haven't been a person who's necessarily been offended by it because I understand, because now that I've had this conversation so many times with so many different women and different experiences, even the women that I'm dating now, one thing that I understand is like, this is an experience that I'm never going to have to go through. And it's an experience that every Black woman has been through, and that this is a conversation that needs to be had. And if you like, just like you said, if you want to be these protectors that you claim you are, then do the job, because all they're asking you to do is the bare minimum. You don't get a gold star for doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And I think that's important.
You just gotta mind your business. That's it. Like men just need to
mind your business.
Leave people alone. Keep your hands to yourself. Everything you learned in kindergarten applies in real life.
Yes.
It really
just keep it moving, bro.
Right.
So
You
rock, paper, scissors.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that you used to take control in starting your relationship by asking guys to be your boyfriends or Valentines, as a person who also tends to do that as well and is actively trying to stop.
That's definitely me.
This is definitely Shakira speaking her truth. But I'm going to speak it for her. Have you outgrown that behavior, and did it take you evaluating your relationship with Adam to notice that you were doing that?
No, I knew that from high school. Like my high school.
So you're actually me.
Yeah, no, I knew, because you know what? I do feel like at times a lot of boys and men have been intimidated by me because I am usually loud. I'm usually the person, you know, as Funky Doniva. I don't know if y'all know Funky Doniva, but like I'm obsessed with him. But as Funky Doniva says, like I'm usually in charge of the girls. And so like men don't really have an opportunity to get me by myself. I'm with my homies all the time. Like, and so I usually break away from the girls and I go up to guys, because if not, I will go home, you know, without a number, you know, and back in high school when we used to do that. So no, I knew that was, I've been doing that and I haven't really stopped. The only reason why, and I don't feel like that's an issue, like because I see a guy that I like, and if he's not going to come talk to me, like I have enough wherewithal or confidence or what have you to be like, hey, what's going on? You know, and I don't feel like that's a bad thing. The only reason why I didn't do that in my relationship now was because, you know, he just did it first, and I wasn't really looking for anyone. But it's funny because even now, you know, he read the book too. He read the book like in a couple of days. So he knows all my business, but, which sucks. But he was reading the book and he was like, oh, this is interesting. He was like, yeah, the only reason why I said all that to you is because you made like a suggestive joke, which I had forgotten about. So before the wedding, everyone was sitting around and I forget what he said, but he said something like, you know, yeah, we're gonna party tonight. We're gonna turn up. And I was like, yeah, maybe later. I said that to him, but I was just like trying to be cute, you know, and try to like be with the guys. Like I was bored, you know. I wasn't trying to come on to him, but he took that as his cue, like, oh, she likes me. Let me try to. So even still in that story, I still was the one who just gave the green light. Yeah, so I just can't help it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm definitely that person where it's like, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. Because then I know it's going to get done the way that I want it to get done. And then I don't have to complain because I fixed it myself.
Right.
And as a person that's almost 5'10", like I'm 5'9", I'm tall, like I'm usually taller than most people. It's like, I get you're intimidating or, you know, dial it back some type thing. So I was just wondering, like, did you change? Because you mentioned, like, you know, I take charge, I take control. Like, did you change that? I did want to know.
But I can't. I don't think I. I don't think I ever. Yeah, that's just who I am, and I like that part of myself.
Live your truth. Live your truth.
Thank you.
If you're gonna be a boss, be a boss.
All right.
One thing that did catch me off guard was your realization in chapter 32 about, despite the fact that Adam didn't propose, you felt like you weren't ready to be married. Like despite being upset about that, you realized that, you know, you weren't ready to be married. And I know hindsight is, you know, 20/20, but what kind of made that abundantly clear for you?
Right. I just remember, and I wrote about this in the book, right before Condom Gate, which I'm not going to spoil. You got to read the book. But right before Condom Gate, like, I truly believed he was going to propose. Like, he, you know, gave me this typewriter that's still sitting right here. It's just a lovely typewriter. I'm not going to get rid of it. And he was just being, I know.
My boyfriend.
Is he doing okay now?
No, he's, you know what? I'm glad that you asked about Bay. We're about to go on a 5-day vacation. Like he does not care. And it's funny because we met as I was finishing this book. We met, my deadline was like 3 months like later. And I was like, yo, I'm writing a book about my ex. And if this is going to be weird, like we should just not date. And he said he wasn't going to be weird about it. And he's been a man of his word, which is why I like him. He's been a man of his word from jump. So we're doing great. He don't care. But
Eris is looking like, yes, mommy. Yes.
He doesn't care.
He's like, he said you're secure in the bag. He's like, you're secure in the bag, so it's cool.
No, yes, he's not insecure, and he it's just a really, like, he's so self-assured, and I think our relationship has been very open and honest from the beginning. So like he knows that's a wrap. Like, you know. Anyway. But what was I saying?
It wasn't clear about not being when did it become clear?
Right. Yeah. So in that moment when he kind of let me down again, I'm like, am I stupid? You know, because I don't really make the same mistake twice, you know? And so at that point, it was like twice that this man had gotten my hopes up only for me to be let down and don't have a proposal. So I really had to evaluate, like, what are you not seeing, or what are you not trying to see? Mm-hmm. And then when I started, I just became very tired. Like I really did have a Solange moment where I was traveling every weekend. I was partying a lot. I was drinking a lot. I was having the time of my life, which was an amazing distraction from the reality that, you know what, like you're not ready for what you say you want. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not ready for what, and that is just a very humbling reality. And I remember looking in my bank account with like $12, you know, $12 in it. And I'm like, I can't afford not to face this anymore. Like I legit can't afford to do it. And I started to self-evaluate. And then I realized, like, you know, you say you want a husband to treat you all these different type of ways, but like, who are you, you know? And how have you been acting? You know, I started to be very anxious and quick to anger and frustrated, all because I didn't have this ring that was supposed to give me some sort of validation. And so I wasn't even the woman that anyone could fall in love with at that moment in time. And I had to face that and say, you know what, if you really want to be in a relationship, you have to be the woman that any man would want. And you're not that right now.
Okay. Yeah, because I just remembered, I don't think I expected that to come. Like I didn't expect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Like, or I don't think I saw that throughout the book. It just kind of seemed like you were just like really aware of like, this is what I wanted, or maybe it was because I'm the type of person that like, I have this thing on a list. I need to achieve that. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do that. And it really took you like kind of like being self-reflective and like really in tune to yourself to kind of expect, or just looking at your bank account and being like, okay, so no, this is a problem I need to address.
Yeah. You know? And honestly, I thought that I was ready. And because I was writing most of the book in real time, because like I said, like I got the book deal very sort of instantaneously by the grace of God, because that does not happen. But I just lucked up and found an editor that really believed in me. And so a lot of this book was like my diary. I was living it out day to day. So much so that I didn't know how I was going to end it. I'm like, should I go out tonight? Like, because I need an ending. Like, I don't know what to write anymore. And so, yeah, it was happening in real time. All of these realizations, like, girl, get your life together. Like, what are you doing? Like, you look a mess. You look worn down. You have no money. Go home and be comfortable in going home, and get comfortable being alone. Get comfortable with what God has already given you. And I just remember feeling like, okay, if I can foster a spirit of gratefulness, if I can just be grateful for what I have, even if I never, ever, ever get married, I can learn to live with this new reality, and I can learn to be grateful and be happy. And that was just, yeah, it just happened like that.
Speaking about being happy, one thing that stuck out to me was taking yourself out on a date. Like, that was pretty dope. I love when your friend, like, put that out.
So, her sister.
Sister.
My sister.
Yes, Jasmine told you to take your, she told you the engagement game.
She did. She broke it down.
She really spit game to you. She spit real game. And she was like, "Do you take yourself out on a date?" She was like, "You were like, no, who does that?" And I've even told people like that's mad weird. Enjoyed it because I took myself out on a date a while back. I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 like after work. And I really enjoyed it. Like it's one of the coolest things that you can do, because you have to always like, you love yourself, but can you take yourself out? Like, and I didn't get any stares. There weren't even really a lot of people in there really to begin with. But I know for a woman, like when you put yourself in that space, it feels like it's vulnerable. Probably because you're like, well, look at me. Yes. I'm just this sorry, pathetic sack of, you know what, taking myself out on a date. I mean, because that's how I felt at first.
Right. That's how I felt at first too. I have to admit.
But my question is, how many times do you take yourself out on a date? Like, do you do it as like a once a month thing? Is it at a once every 2 months, like to get away?
Do you still do it?
Do you still do it? Good.
I still do it. I don't have a schedule, so I couldn't tell you. But even because like I work weekends now, so my days off are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And so most of the times when I want to do something, everyone else is at work. So I've had to just, accept this. And so I remember I was at a restaurant downtown and I really wanted like good food. So I was like, I'm just going to go to a restaurant and I'm going to sit at a table. I'm not going to sit at the bar. I'm going to sit at a table. And I just remember doing that and just enjoying myself, with myself. I was watching videos on my YouTube, whatever, but I still had an enjoyable time with myself. And I remember feeling like, wow, I don't even feel weird about this. And I text my sister like, yo, I just did it again. Like, I'm doing this. So yeah, I still do it. And I, went biking by myself in Central Park because I had been waiting for this guy to take me. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go. So yeah, I make it a point to continue, living and enjoying things. Because I feel like when the point of dating yourself was really because I had stopped doing things that brought me joy and that I just truly love to do because I couldn't find anyone else to do it with me. And so I refuse to do that anymore. Like if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. And it's brought me so much joy and satisfaction. I don't feel weird.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciated that you did that for yourself. I think that was one of the things like about the engagement. I was like, that's good advice. That's just
Have you taken yourself out on a date? Have you done it yet?
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it before. I appreciate a lot just in the type of job that I have to do like self-care. So that's what I do. I will take myself out to eat. I actually did. On Friday, I took myself to get a massage. And I needed and deserved it.
I deserve. Mama D.
My self-care is more so I have a coloring app on my iPad. And adult coloring is actually pretty dope. The Apple Pencil one is amazing. I would suggest if you do not have an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, you're playing yourself. But one of the coolest features about it, besides like because I write a lot of notes, is the coloring feature. Like when I get down or anything like that, or if I'm reading a book and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm tired of looking at pages, I can get away from that and I can just color something and it doesn't matter what it is. And that's been my self-care tool personally, but I'm probably going to take myself out on another date maybe.
Yeah. Go out with yourself. Treat yourself.
Exactly.
So we definitely want to make sure that you make it on your vacation. So we just have 2 more questions left.
Cool.
So
yeah.
One thing I want to know is, who's your favorite author or book?
Oh, that's so hard. Are you kidding me? My favorite author. Who would be my favorite author? I don't have one because I'm a Libra and it's very hard for me to choose anything. Yeah, we're very indecisive people. But I will tell you the books that I have read this year that I love. So like The Mothers, I just finished and I'm obsessed with that book. Like the last line of the book threw me for a loop. And I just love the way Britt Bennett writes. I love Jason Reynolds, who he and I went to school together. I just think he's dope. I love Jacqueline Woodson. I love Toni Morrison. I love my mom. She has books, Joi-Marie McKenzie. And I loved her latest book. It's called The Big Deal. I'm trying to think of who else. Let me look at my bookshelf right now. Let's see. There was this, yeah, I can't read. My eyesight is poor. Oh, you know what? I love Candace Bushnell. I love Candace Bushnell. I love like books that are easy to read. Like, so for me, I always say I want to write books that feel like cotton candy melting on your tongue. It's enjoyable. It's light. You can digest it. I don't want you to have to reread sentences. I just want you to get it. And so any book that makes me feel that way, that just feels delightful, I love. So, yeah.
Okay.
I like that. So last question. Your family seems to be close-knit and supportive.
Yeah.
I think when this book was done, like I know with being a preacher's kid, you were probably, your mom was like, are you talking about sex in this book? Because you know, like when your mom whispers like real low, even though like nobody's around. I kind of caught that vibe. I was like, you really putting all your business out here.
I really am.
How are church folks
like
gonna take
when,
it?
The skeletons come out the closet, per se.
Well, you know, yeah, my mom was very, and she's an author as well, so she understands the need for me to express, but she was very overprotective and very scared for me, I think. But I had to remind her that, like, I'm going through what a lot of her church members are going through. And a lot of times what they're going through is a lot deeper than me just having premarital sex. So I just told her to just hold on and to trust me. And she read, I don't think she could get through the entire book, but I think, you know, like when I was talking about sex on a platter and she was like, oh, that's it. I don't think she got
that point. Oh man, it got so much better.
Yeah, but you know, that's okay. Like she don't need to, and my father just has not read it. I'm like, please dad, don't read it. Please dad, don't read it. But my sister loved it, and my brother, he's supportive of anything I do, but he did not read it either. So, yeah.
Okay. I did have one more question. I'm sorry. So you, and I really would love to know. So you have done tons of interviews, and I love reading about them in the book. Who have been like your top 3 favorite interviews?
Well, that's very easy. So my number 1 would be Jill Scott, which I write about in the book. I just love her energy, her spirit, and she really did change my life, like in a real sense, like giving me the language to explain what I was feeling. Because, you know, in the book, I talk about asking her, why didn't her 3 engagements work out? And she goes, you know, Joy, I can hold my stomach in for 4 hours, but I can't hold it in forever. And I just remember feeling like, oh, that is so, this is what I'm going through. And she just was like such a genuine spirit and person. So she's my number 1. My number 2 would be, and I've interviewed him a few times, but Nick Cannon, like, he's dope. Like, I know he gets like a corny rap or whatever, but there is a reason why he is so successful. And it's because he's genuine, he's open, he's honest, and he's just really nice and sweet. Every time I interview him, he's so lovely. So he would be my number 2. You like him?
No, my friends call him the corniest.
That he's a cornball, but
he's like the most successful cornball ever. He's so wealthy.
And there is a reason for that. There is a reason for that. He's so smart and sharp and just, I remember when I was working at ABC Radio and we were like out on a rooftop and I had to interview him and he's like, no, Joy needs good sound. She's radio. We need to go inside. Like he was fighting for me to get the best product that I could deliver because, you know, it's going to affect him. So I just like, he's dope. Like, so he'll always, and then and the only place we could interview inside was in this like amazing iconic green room that like the Rolling Stones had been in and like all these other cool, you know, musicians have been in. And so because of Nick Cannon, I was able to experience that. So he's very sharp and he's very serious about his craft. So I like him.
Yeah,
I'll stop my Nick Cannon slander. I'll no longer make fun of Nick Cannon.
I won't. I'll keep it to
I'm
myself.
gonna try really hard, but if he wears a turban one more time,
no,
we're gonna have words.
But the thing is, it keeps him in the news. You know about it. It's working.
Yeah, like he's very smart, business minded, and he's very successful and clearly a wonderful person. All these beautiful, wonderful women are dating him, so it's like
he's got to be doing something right because he's
doing something right. Like we could all learn something from Nick Cannon.
I'm telling you, give him a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't think of a third, but I'm trying to think of one more person that I really like. I have a lot of people that I don't like, but I'll just keep that to myself. But I'll tell y'all when we're not live.
Okay.
I have a lot of good stories.
See, I'm there for that, and we won't tweet nothing. We won't say nothing. If we interview one of the people that you talk about, we promise we won't say a thing.
No, you can't, because all of them know.
They trash.
Let's see. I made up with Trey Songz. I had to have a come to Jesus moment with him because we had a terrible first interview, but we kissed and made up.
Oh, that's good. This has been so much fun. Like I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this book. And just like you expressed, it was like cotton candy melting on the tongue. Like it was such an easy read. It's probably because I identified so closely. Like I was like, "Who?" Jason was like, "Yeah, this is Shakira."
Because when I was listening, I started really listening to it in the gym. That's what I was like. Usually when I go to the gym, I either listen to music or I listen to podcasts. And that day I had listened to Gucci Mane's new book, and it's everything. It is everything.
Okay, maybe I should download it before I get on this flight.
It's not him reading it, but the person reading it makes it sound like a movie. Like I had it on my speaker, and my girlfriend walked in, and she was like, "What are you listening to?"
What is this?
Like she sat down for a second. She was like, "Well, let me get into it real quick." And I was in the back, just walking around the house, and I was like, "Oh, this is Gucci Mane's new book." But listening to it in the gym, I was in the gym for like 2.5 hours, and I stopped working out. I was doing legs. That's when I tweeted that. That I was doing legs. I had stopped on the machine because I was like, well, she's spilling tea, so let me sit down real quick. Let me sit down and let me just bask in it just a little bit because it's hot right now.
Yes, I love that. Yes, it made you stop doing legs, book.
I mean, it was only for a second. I came home and told my girl, I was like, you know what? I haven't been that great in this relationship. I just want to apologize. And she was like, oh, so it took reading a book. Congratulations.
Yes. Tell Chastity I said you're welcome.
Yes.
Right now. She said, hey.
I'm so happy to hear that. And honestly, there's so many men the same way. They're like, wow, this is what y'all go through. Like, let me go have a conversation with my girl because I don't want her to feed me engagement chicken. Like, I just need to have a conversation with her.
Nah, she told me, she was like, if we're together 5 years, she's like, and I'm not married. She's like, we're not making 5 years if you haven't proposed to me. Yes. So I was, she drew a line in the sand early. So I was like,
yeah, that's what I told my boyfriend too. I'm not doing that again. Nope.
Well, thank you for talking to us. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for having me. Really,
you're welcome. Great. So, readers, we haven't announced our next book, but be on the lookout for that later on this week.
We'll announce it. I'll announce it tomorrow. I think it's time. I think it's time. We might announce it tonight because kind of gave people a brief. I kind of gave people an idea of what it was.
Yeah, we did drop it.
Maybe they missed it.
What was the hint?
You just missed it.
You missed it.
Dang. Okay, I'm gonna go on my Twitter.
Yes.
You got to check it out.
If you haven't picked up the engagement game, we definitely would suggest it.
Add it to your reading list.
Yes.
Definitely add it to your reading list. Get your boyfriends to read it because
buy one for the men in your life.
And who read it, it was worth it, fellas. It really was. It was really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, enjoy your vacation.
I will. Don't call me, y'all.
Don't call me. I'm with my man.
Right.
Gotta go.
Okay.
But thank you guys so much, and I hope after I come back from vacation, I hope I can get another book. Yeah, maybe
we'll get another book from vacation.
Maybe not anytime
from
soon.
Vacation. A vacation book? Can we get a vacation book?
Oh, I love a vacation. Yeah, we'll see. That's a good idea though. I like it.
Hey. Okay. Now we really gotta go.
Yeah, we're being real black right now. Black. Real black. All right, so see you guys next time at the end of the month. We will give you guys more details into what the next book is, either possibly tonight or first thing in the morning. So just look out for those tweets for our Facebook friends. Look out in the Facebook group and always check the Facebook page. We got to get Joy a shirt for the street harassment. Let's get her "Don't Touch Me."
Oh,
I'm
you
reading.
might get a one. Yes,
I love it.
Yes.
Don't talk to me. I'm reading. Or don't touch my books. That one's a good one.
Oh, I love that.
What color and
yeah,
color and size.
Awesome.
I got you.
I sure will.
We'll send it to you after your vacation. I wish I could get it to you now, but you gotta go. We gotta go, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching, and thank you for reading while black.
Bye.